Nobody cares if you're the managing director of a business at all.
How can somebody actually go about like creating a brand for themselves? Like if you had to give them 3 tips that they can just follow, what would that be?
But just figure out what you want your life to look like in 10 years.
Everyone loves like a good journey story that he started from the bottom. Now we're here, rags to riches. This is something that I love about this country. Like people here really love enjoying their life as much as they can and like experiencing their life. Are you going to be in a van for 12 months?
Possibly, on and off.
Oh my God.
Welcome to Call Me Didi. I'm your host Diva.
And I'm your host Sanchi, and let's get into today's episode. Today we have a business coach on our podcast, Janine. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you so much for coming on, Janine. For everybody who doesn't know Janine Vosper is a speaker, author, and founder of Speech Perfect. Since 2007, she has helped professionals and entrepreneurs find their voice, build their confidence, and grow their personal brand to achieve greater business success. Again, thank you for coming on, Janine. Janine also has 2 books, and I'm going to show them to you. Thank you, Sanchi.
There you go.
They're called Being Unstoppable and Good Girls Do Sell. So today we're going to talk everything about what you need to do as an individual, as a business owner to succeed and challenge your limiting beliefs and storytelling as well. So if you're a young professional or someone who's just starting out a business or you want to work on your self-limiting beliefs, Janine is the person for you. So again, thank you for coming on, Janine. Janine, my first question to you is how are you? But in life?
I am exactly in life where I meant to be in life at this age. I have planned every stage, rather than setting goals, planned every 10 years. So by the time I've got to what I am now, at 66, then I am exactly where I want to be. So I'm great.
That's amazing. And do you want to share where you're at? Because I know that you mentioned earlier that you're planning to travel a little bit just before we started on the podcast. Can you tell us a bit about like how you've, planned your life out so that now you're able to, I guess, work and travel?
I've always wanted to know what my life was going to look like at a certain period of time, whether it was when I had children. How can I fit my work and what I love to do around having children and being a mother? Then when they got a bit older, what can I do next to study and get the next stage? And then worked in corporate as a general manager of sales for a multi-million-dollar business for about 20 years. But while I was there, I was then creating the life I have now, which is having my own business. But we talk about travel. I have traveled around the world and across this country and just love doing it. So I just want to continue doing it more. And something, when I left that corporate position, I did not have any holidays or long service left because I had taken the holidays as they came up and made sure that I was living the life even though I was working in a high pressure job.
That is really impressive because I feel like people who are from either Australia or just end up living here for a longer time, this is something that I love about this country. Like people here really love enjoying their life as much as they can and like experiencing their life a lot because like we were talking about this yesterday. They just not work for the sake of working. They work to live. And that's an amazing way to like see life.
Not everyone does it, unfortunately. It's a learnt behaviour. But we've got such a beautiful climate and such a casual lifestyle here. Our next part is we've got a big caravan, hook it up, and we've been doing a lot of trips in it now, and then next year probably 12 months doing exactly that. I am where I want to be.
That is amazing. So if you don't mind me asking, do you have the caravan set up with like Wi-Fi and whatnot so you can be out and about and on your laptop at the beach?
The trips we've been doing have been 6 or 7 weeks, so I haven't bothered with something like Starlink, but when we're away next year for 12 months, definitely Starlink so I can work anywhere.
Are you going to be in a van for 12 months?
Possibly, on and off.
Oh my God. Like, this is very great perspective to talk to you, because we are in our 20s, and we were talking about this, like one of the biggest things that we struggle with, that we feel that we have to do everything before we turn 30, because once we turn 30 our life is going to get over, like, oh my god, so many responsibilities, we're not going to have fun, we're not going to be able to travel, what else? And this pressure gets too much, that you just feel so much that you have to do everything
Before 30, it's like a ticking time clock. Oh, 30 is
Yeah.
coming, 30 is coming, 30 is coming. But this is so refreshing
Exactly.
to like,
Well, it is, and it's really recognizing that it isn't over, and you don't have to do everything. But just figure out what you want your life to look like in 10 years. So what is that? A lot of people say, at your age, at 30 or 40, they don't want to be working full time. They want to be able to just do whatever they like and travel. It's probably not realistic, because that's where boredom and that's not part of human nature. We want to feel valued, and so you still want to be doing something, but what do you want that to look like? And what is that something? And then start the planning process rather than trying to race through.
Yeah, I think this is something that I'm definitely working through, because I always thought that, oh, I want to like not work my whole life and just like do less work. But something that I've realized, that I enjoy working and I really enjoy helping people, but I just don't want to work on somebody else's terms. Like, I want to work for myself. I want to start my own thing. I want to start a freedom-based business in which I choose my own hours, and I can work from anywhere I want to, and I can work whenever I want to. I don't have to do something. I should be wanting to do that.
And that's a great place to be. And if that's what you want to create, well, then what does that look like? What do you need to do to be able to get there to create that, so that you can live that life?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and start the planning. And I'm a big goal setter, but the goal setting is just a 12-month thing. Lifestyle setting is a 10-year. What's that next 10 years going to look like?
Now, on that, you obviously have lots of experience, guess planning your own life, but also helping a lot of individuals plan their businesses and their, I guess, professional lives, and how that can work with their goals. Can we go back to, I guess, when you were working, for the company you were as a managing director? What inspired you to then start business coaching on the side?
I love what Sanchit said before, and it's very much, how can I help people? So I was making a lot of money for that particular business, and managed to secure the business of every mining company in Queensland and most of the councils. And so I was successful at doing that, but it was doing it for someone else. And it wasn't that same reward that I get now by helping others. And what my theory has always been, the more people I help, the more money I earn. So it's not about how can I earn money, it's how can I help more people. And I've won quite a few awards, business awards, and they're to do with coaching, particularly coaching women in business. I usually say I work with women or men who are smart enough to work with me. It's my phrase.
Love that, actually.
But it's getting someone else to get that success, or that just in that level of confidence and belief in themselves that they can achieve what I've been talking about.
So, like, given that you work with a lot of young professionals, or like people in their early stages of career,
Yeah.
what are the common themes in terms of challenges that you see that they face, and then how do you help them through it?
A lot of it is about self-belief, and we hear about the glass ceiling and believing that you can achieve something even though there's might be something holding you back. What's very interesting, though, and we were talking about it just before we came on, is about the different generations. And each generation has a different way of that perception of that. And I believe your generation, Gen Z, has less concerns about not being able to achieve it, but still the concerns about whether that's self-belief within themselves, whether they have enough skills, enough knowledge, or do I need to do more courses? What do I need to do? And it's recognizing that you need to build that level of confidence and belief in yourself first, and ensure that you are ready. Really? Probably that's a good word. You are ready to take on whatever you want to take on, but that's got to come from self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I agree with you. Like a few weeks ago, I was going through this phase where I was thinking that no matter how many times I think about like building a big business for myself, I'm not able to get there. Like I've been trying to do this for a long time. And I was just really feeling bad about it. And then I just thought that I am meant to be an entrepreneur. And what I did in order to make myself believe that I can do this and I'm built for this is take out a paper and I wrote all the businesses that I've started from a very, very young age. And I used to be a kid and I started making chai for my family and I would sell them a cup for 50 rupees, which is $1 at the time, like still $1. And like I was like, I think 5-6 years old when I started that, like very fun. And then people would come to a house like guests and I would make chai for them and I would sell them that for not them, like I would get money from my parents, but I would like write it in my notebook and I would get money from my parents for making chai. So point being that I have been in that mindset from a very, very young age. And then I wrote all the types of businesses that I started since that time. And I realized that podcast and the other business that I was telling you about is my 10th business. So like if I have been in that mindset from a very, very young age that this is what I want to do and I'll eventually get there, like it's a journey. I have to learn a lot of things on the way. Like there's no point doubting myself. Like I'm building the skills in order to have a strong foundation. And it's like you said very well there that building that self-trust comes from a lot of the times like writing all the things that you once thought you'd never be able to do, but then you did them, and like reminding yourself that if you did that, you can do this as well. Like
I agree. And I was going to ask you, because you said, I've been trying to build this business for a really long time. And I was going to say, how long is a really long time that you've been trying to build that business?
yeah, not that long, I would say.
It's we see on social media that people create businesses overnight. That is such a small percentage, and most of it doesn't. They've had 10 years of practice before they've got to that place. Just keep being curious. Just keep getting knowledge, and knowledge doesn't necessarily have to mean education. Knowledge can be knowledge. Listen to podcasts, read books, talk to people who have got the experience, because that will help you trust yourself a lot more that yes, I know where I'm going. But give yourself some time and patience and find out what it is. So if you're creating a marketing business, why? And that's one of the things I love with my storytelling, is going back to it. And I love what you've said about 5-year-old. I'd be able to create an amazing story from that. That should be in part of your abouts, your bio. It's what makes someone then know, you know what, I want to work with that person because they've always been on this journey, or it's because they've always wanted to help people. Whatever it is, people have to connect with you. So give yourself a little bit of a break with time and keep building a story.
Yeah.
Yes. That's interesting, like yeah, I guess you said, it should be part of your bio on LinkedIn, and we'll get into that in a bit. But I guess often you need to also sell yourself as an entrepreneur, as a personal brand. Personal brands are very important. Again, we'll get into that in a second. But I guess for someone like me, right, I'm the kind of person who really struggles with that. I really struggle with selling myself. I rather you see value in who I am than me having to tell you that this is the value I bring. And it's just, it's a journey, and I know that it's important. I know that you have to put yourself out there. You have to tell people, but it's a bit like, I don't need to tell you, like it's I guess an ego thing probably. But do you have any tips for someone like me? And maybe it's also because I'm a woman and women also struggle with this sort of framework. Do you have any tips for people like myself who may have this experience?
Women tend to hold back a lot more than men. And has been a lot of studies done with people who have applied for jobs, and women have to have 80% of the criteria before they'll apply for the job, and men will only need 20% before they apply for the job. I'm very much a yes person. Can you do that? Sure, no worries, I can do that. And then figure out how you're going to do that. So that's part of it. But as I said before, I in my book I say this all the time. I've never sold anything to anyone. I just make it very easy for people to buy from me. Meaning the reason I'm doing it is to help support other people. So if my focus is on what I can bring to someone else, then I'm going to be successful because that's my focus, not on the bottom line. So and then other people talk about you as well. But you do need to be the front of your brand. You do need to be the person out there. But there's ways of writing it or saying it rather than saying, hey, I have all these degrees, I've won these awards, whatever it is. It could be along the lines of, while I was studying for my marketing degree. So you just reword it. Then everyone knows you've got a marketing degree, but without saying, I have and I've done. You can softly bring those things in if you're feeling uncomfortable, but you need to shout them out.
Yeah. So you're trying to say that we kind of have to showcase our expertise in a way that it comes across as authentic and tells them that we are going to help them, rather than being like, oh, this is what I have, you should buy from me.
Correct. And particularly in Australia, if you're selling to the US, a different market, or they expect people to put their hand up and go, hey, look at me. And one analogy I often give is Australians buy new cars. We tend to pick them up, drive them home, put them in the garage and close the door. We might just put a thing out there to say, hey, look what I've got. Whereas Americans will drive around the block 10 times and go, hey, look at me, this is what I've got. It's a very different markets. And yes, Australians, and particularly Australian women, tend to pull back a lot. And we have that tall poppy syndrome. You may have heard of that.
I have.
Yeah, and anyone that puts their hand up, they want to knock them down. And it's absolute shame, and it's getting better because of the generations flowing through. But we need to make sure that yes, you can talk about yourself and feel good about it.
It's so interesting that you said that. I actually haven't had this perspective about Australian culture and people, so thank you for that. But I was listening to a podcast by Simon Beard, who's the founder of Culture Kings, and he was saying that, he's trying to build a network and help other entrepreneurs come up, just because in Australia, you don't see as many entrepreneurs, and you see that the culture of entrepreneurship and founders is way lesser compared to places like America. And it's for that reason that you just mentioned, that people here are, I guess, not so self-believing, and they really struggle with that. So 100%. But on that, if I'm someone who wants to put myself out there and build a good personal brand, can you tell me why that is important to have as an individual? And that could be, for a young professional who's entering their workforce, because a lot of our audience are people in their 20s, but also an entrepreneur who said, you know what, I need to do this. This is just something I have to do.
It's so much more important now than it was, say, 15, 20 years ago. You just look at influencers.
Yes.
That's what people are influenced by, people with a particular brand. You are your brand. It doesn't matter whether you are even working for someone else. So I've got a course I'm running that is for people who work for someone else and helping them build their personal brand, because you're never sure where that's going to go in the future. It's being consistent with who you are. I can be a little political, but that's me. And they've got to know that. That's an expectation. It's not something that I'll back down from, because I teach people to have a voice and be able to speak from their true, authentic self. If I was not doing that, it wouldn't be my brand. The branding, people often think about colours and logos, but that's not what we're talking about. It's the constant message you're putting out there that is you. So how does that look? And does it reflect? And it's all on socials. I mean, that's what people are expecting. But it's also if you're standing up in front of the room, if you're on your podcast here, what is your authentic brand?
So how can somebody actually go about like creating a brand for themselves? Like if you had to give them 3 tips that they can just follow, what would that be?
The 3 tips for creating a brand for themselves is to be really consistent. Whatever message that you're giving out, make sure that you stick to that message. Be consistent in the amount of information that you're putting out there. Rather than asking for things all the time, gift with knowledge. So there's 2 consistencies, one with personal and one with the knowledge that you're giving. And then the third consistency is that the look, the color, the image that you're portraying is that, do I want it casual, do I want it professional? But it's always the same, it comes across the same way. So 3 consistencies.
Ah, I like that. I've never thought about it like that. Like, I tried to do this exercise one time on my Instagram where I went on my stories and I asked people on my Instagram if you had to describe me in one word, what it'd be, just to get a gauge of how people see me, like in general. And a lot of the answers that I got were very consistent because I feel like the personality that I put online, I am very like that offline as well, like very same person online and offline, was that like very lively kind of energy, which is true. I feel a lot of people who talk to me could gauge that, but I'm not like that all the time. Like Diva lives with me, she can she can tell, like, of course.
Yeah.
But that's just the consistent theme that I found from the answers that people put on the story, which made me think about the thing that you just said, that it's true. Like, it's what people think of you when you're not in the room.
That's exactly what branding is, what people will say about when you're not in the room. And yeah, mine is outspoken, but giving a voice to others. I run a retreat with a photographer and a stylist, and it's all about storytelling and branding. And we all have our own part that we play. But this year, I wrote my story for the first time, which was really interesting. I hadn't done that. I've got plenty of abouts things, but I went back to find the story. And I remember I was the most disruptive child in the classroom, but when I was 12-year-old, my teacher was horrible. He was just an awful man and let the boys get away with hurting the girls and everything. So I just left school, and then my mother sent me back, and I went straight to the principal's office, and I told him I was never going back in that classroom. And so I spoke up then, and it's just who I am now. If I see an injustice, if I see that people are being pressured into something that doesn't work for them, then I want them to have a voice so they can feel that level of confidence and self-belief. So it started very young, like your chai tea.
Fun fact, tea means chai. So when people say chai tea, it actually means chai.
TT.
Yeah, tea.
I loved my chai when I was in India. I binged on it. I haven't been able to get it the same flavour here.
Yes.
It's a tricky one.
There's actually a brand called Dropout Chaiwala. Shout out to them. We actually recorded a podcast with the founder when we were in Melbourne. They are selling, I guess, ready mixed chais, and it's the closest one I found to the one in India. In fact, I have a sachet here, so I'll give it to you before you
excellent.
leave,
That
so
would be
you can
great.
try that. Yes. But we talked about storytelling just then, and we talked about, I guess, why it's important to tell your story. Do you have a framework that our audience could use?
It's really interesting. I have a framework for everything. And I have an acronym for, because I've been teaching, and they're all 5-letter words. So sales, speak, brand, story. And it just makes it easier for people to associate with it.
Yes.
And I did a presentation on elder abuse just recently, and even the word elder has 5. And so I was able to, so the first one for that would be education. So the story part is the S is for the story. What is your story and how it might find it.
Yeah.
So the T is for the target. Who's the audience? Why are you telling this story? But who is that audience that you want to, and that's the thing with when you create your about section or what it might be, is, so I'm working with some accountants. audience is quite different than someone else's audience. The relevance, if you are telling a story, that what's the relevance of someone getting to know you who might go, okay, I recognize that person has always been an entrepreneur. That will work with me.
Why is your voice?
Your voice. And that's part of with the speaking training, how you use your words, how you deliver them, whether you use pause, pace, pitch, projection, and the tone of your voice. Because particularly if you're going to tell your story in a podcast or you're going to tell it on stage, you want to be able to deliver it in the most effective method so people will actually listen to you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for that. That is, I guess, a good framework which people can also use in their LinkedIn to tell their story as well. With the LinkedIn About section, I guess it's important because it's your first thing that professionals who are seeking a professional like yourself are going to see and understand about you as a person. Do you have tips on how our young listeners can optimize their LinkedIn profile?
And I'm going to correct you, it's not the first thing.
Oh, it's not?
A component of it. The most important components of your LinkedIn profile, the first part you see is
Your picture.
your picture.
Oh.
Absolutely. So having a professional friendly photo is so important. One of you at the beach is not, unless you're an entrepreneur trying to promote that you can work from the beach, it's not going to get the same as a lovely professional photo. While people have got the photo, they often have it turned away from their banner, which means they've just turned their back on their banner and turned their back on their business. It's a simple little story.
So you mean like they're looking sideways and then they have the banner at the back?
Yeah, they're not looking towards the banner. They're looking away from the banner. You'll start noticing it now.
Yeah.
The second part is the banner. It is great real estate. And making sure that you have got components on there, not necessarily your logo, but even putting your phone number on there makes it really easy for people to find you rather than having to go into the contact. And the third part is your headline. Nobody cares if you're the managing director of a business at all. They do care what you can do for them and how you would do it. So you've got 220 characters to make the most of that headline and to get that right. So they're the three most obvious points on your LinkedIn profile that will attract people in the first instance, then they'll go to the About section.
Because I think I still have founder of my brand name as my first thing, but that makes sense when you write something like helping you build a deep relationship with yourself in the bio rather than saying founder of You're a Sunflower, because they would probably not know what You're a Sunflower is and how can I help them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's part of, and it's because of me working in sales for 40 years, nobody cares about what you do. They only care what you can do for them. And if that's in your banner and in your headline and in your banner as well, then people recognize straight away, this is the person that I want to connect with and I want to work with.
How important do you think is to show your more authentic self on your LinkedIn? So not just about your profession and what you can do and, like I'm this, I'm that, but who I am as a person and why you can relate to me. Is that important in LinkedIn world or?
It's important in every world. And particularly, since the world changed about 5 years ago, we want to know people now. We really want to know who we're working with. And if there's nothing personal on there, I've worked with a Sydney lawyer, and she still is a dust lawyer. So she worked with people with silicosis and asbestosis, and she didn't want to be an ambulance chaser. We worked to change her profile over. But part of it, she was also a Polish speaker. So that we added that because if someone is from Europe, then they just might feel a little bit more comfortable with somebody who is a Polish speaker. I've had others that Mad About Dogs was a personal VA, and that was another component. It's people want to know a little bit more about you, and they were just in headlines. There's a lot more that goes into the 2,600 characters in your About section. Yeah.
So these are the three things that you'd say that a new young professional should be focusing on when they're building their LinkedIn profile. Is that profile photo, banner, and like the like the
Headline.
which people will see at the first glance.
Absolutely. And there's a whole lot of other tricks that within your name part, you can change up a little bit. You go back and have a look at mine and you'll go, oh yeah, she's done that. Yeah, I like that.
Right, I'm going on her profile right after this. Janine, I know you're working on some really cool things at the moment, and you have a few upcoming projects that you're bringing to the world. Do you want to tell us about that?
I do. Thank you very much. I work a lot one-on-one with people, and I find that people who are located near me in Brisbane, then they like to be in person, but a lot work in Zoom wherever they may be in the world. I'm just changing up things a little bit to fit in with this travel lifestyle. I'm running quite a few half-day workshops, whether they are on storytelling or LinkedIn profile, how to build. They're two different workshops and how to build those. And so one is a storytelling. I help you through a formula, write your story, and then I massage it and edit it and create something that is... I listen to your words and I massage it. So, because again, what's the purpose of saying that? I'll give you an example. Had a client who told me that she grew up with alcoholic parents. No, we're not going to put that in it, but it ended up that she grew up in a household that didn't feel safe and wasn't nurturing, but what she learned to be was invisible. So then we built the story around how she now helps other people not be invisible. So it's that sort of thing is what I do with the storytelling. There's great relevance in telling that story.
Yeah.
So the storytelling half-day workshops and LinkedIn profile setting up. We'll basically set it all up in the half-day.
That is very smart. So just a very personal, selfish question to you from my side. If I have to frame my story in a manner that I grew up with having a lot of self issues and I had a very low self-esteem and self-worth in myself when I was in high school. But I have built on it a lot after I moved to Australia, and I've worked on it a lot, like exposing myself to a lot of different cultures and building on that. But now I'm at a stage where I have such a deep appreciation for myself that I know that I can get through any challenge that comes my way. And I really want to help other people build that deep relationship with themselves. Like, how would you say in very short words that I could frame this story?
That you could frame that story. I would need to ask a few more questions about growing up and going to school. Was there any bullying at school?
I wouldn't say bullying, but I just feel like my school wasn't very nurturing in the sense they wouldn't like encourage you to do things outside of your comfort zone. They would just push people who were naturally good at it rather than like helping other people do that as well. And I just feel like whenever I would very like shy on stage and stuff, so I would tremble and I would go blackout and stuff. That happened quite a few times.
Yeah, so see how we sort of would get more into this and then saying something along the lines of, and plus going to school in India, did that make a difference of what you've noticed with schools in Australia?
Yes, a little bit. I felt like, because I went to a Catholic school and it was it was expected of you to have really good English when you come from a convent school. But my household, nobody spoke English at all. So I used to feel like my English speaking is really bad and I would feel guilty about it because I wasn't supposed to be like that given that I went to a convent school. So that really broke my confidence as well, like when it came to being comfortable speaking in English, I would say.
So what you would start with your story is about the level of confidence and belief that you've built within yourself. And then you would go along the lines, and it wasn't as an easy start, recognizing that at school, I would need to sit down and write this out. but that's how you go. I would start today, but then I would go if you had seen me 10 years ago, if you had seen me 15 years ago. So there's a couple of different formulas of writing stories, and one is like that would probably suit you. There's also the hero story. That's a formula. Every single movie is played out with the hero story.
Really?
It is just about. You look at Rocky. Do you know this the movie
Yeah.
Rocky?
Yeah.
So he's down and out, and all of a sudden has opportunity and doesn't believe in himself that he's going to do it. So again, this could work as well. Doesn't believe he could achieve it. Then he gets a mentor, the coach, and then he's in the takes a lot of confidence and self-belief, and eventually gets to the stage where he runs up the stairs and he achieved that. He's in the fight, but he doesn't win, but that doesn't matter, and he gets the girlfriend. And
Yes. Everyone loves like a good journey story that he started from the bottom. Now we here, rags to riches. Pursuit of Happiness is a very similar movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
which one?
Pursuit of Happiness. It's got Will Smith in it.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
basically such a beautiful movie. I would highly recommend it.
I've
But
seen it,
it's
yeah.
oh, you've seen it, yeah. It's the same thing, right? Like he's in New York, has a son, is living in, I guess, charity housing, and then he figures it out, and he starts working on Wall Street, and is able to provide for his kid, and it's so, and like you can really tell. Like he relates so deeply to that story because you're cheering for him the whole time. So it's
You have a look at most stories, most books, most novels. They're all
Yes.
written on their family. They usually get though close to the end when it seems successful and something goes wrong, and they've just got to get through that last moment and then live happily ever after type of thing.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah, so you could definitely write it out like that,
That makes sense.
and then leave me with the words.
I will. Thank you so much, Janine, for coming on. I have one last question for you before we end the episode. If there was one advice that you had to give to your younger self who was just starting out, what would it be?
I think the most important thing is to be curious. I don't think I was curious enough younger, but then I come from a generation where I was married at 20 and had children, by the time I was 24, and but there was always a drive within me. I remember being on a train with a girlfriend, and we had little tiny children. We're going, what are we doing next? What are we doing next? So always be thinking about, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? Be curious, but get knowledge from as many places as you can. And, I've proof that you don't have to have formal education, but make sure that you get educated and invest in yourself. But women, this frustrates me more than anything. I said I work mostly with women. All my private clients are men, all of them, because they will think, I need help with presentations, I need help with speaking, I need help with branding, I need help with storytelling. I will invest in myself. Whereas us women will go, oh, the children need some new shoes. And it's not an investment. So that would be probably my biggest thing, is figure out what you want to achieve, how you're going to get there, and invest in yourself to do it.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like.
Janine, this is what I really love about you, because you're a testament to how you've done it as well through your life, and you continue to do so even at an age where most people, I guess your age, would retire on and just going to the pub, like that's all they want. I don't want to go travel. I can't put in the effort. Who's going to build a caravan? But you continue to do so, and you're so excited about life and still building your work and making it work for you. So it's actually been so refreshing, so inspiring to talk to you today. Thank you for coming on. For our audience who want to reach out to you and connect with you and potentially work with you, where can they find you?
Thank you for all those lovely words. It's very nice. Best place is to go to my website, which is janinevosper.com. Now, I spell my name, and you'll have it in the show notes, I'm assuming, but JANEEN, Vosper with a V.com, and you can book a free complimentary 30 minutes. So we can have a chat. I can figure out whether I can help you or just give you some words of advice.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Bye.